All systems appear to be go inside Matthew Stafford's head. Should we tempt fate by suggesting the Chargers are getting healthier? And Myles Turner is trying to gin up a trade to any West Coast basketball team because, bro, Indiana? I'm James. This is your daily dose of sports and snark for the greatest sports city in the world, Los Angeles. This is Faithful Angelino's Morning Report. So it's November 17th, 2022. I always feel a little bit more optimistic about things while I'm broadcasting from my home. If you like the content that we put out about LA sports, click the like button. Click the subscribe button. There's a notifications bell. Hit that. It'll let you know when we drop new content. Sharing is caring. Let people know we exist. And by all means, comment, particularly on this sweet Kings throwback jersey that I very rarely wear. Now, before we go through the news and notes from around LA, quick look at the scoreboard. Speaking of the Kings, Trevor Moore notched a hat trick last night. Kings 3, Edmonton 1. Cal Peterson arguably with his best game of the year. Now look, it doesn't wipe out the fact that the Oilers eliminated the Kings from last year, but Kings have been pretty solid. Meanwhile today, the Pistons are in town to face the Clippers at 7:30. Anyone else just tempted to put this in the win column without even bothering to watch? The Pistons are the second worst team in the NBA this year. So, what can I tell you about today? Sean McVay said Matthew Stafford was a full participant in Wednesday's practice. Now, that does not mean he has cleared concussion protocol. It is simply a step in the process. He could be cleared Friday. The expectation is that he's going to be under center Sunday against the Saints. New Orleans, that might actually be a tonic for the Rams and their anemic offense. We'll find out, but New Orleans is 25th in the NFL in points allowed. And Stafford coming back under center is kind of important. John Wolford started in Matthew Stafford's place on Sunday. In addition to the Rams getting their heads kicked in yet again, he has a stiff neck. So if it's not Stafford, you might be down to your third string quarterback right now. Not exactly signs of optimism for the defending champs. Now, I acknowledge something. I acknowledge that the Rams offensive line has smelled worse than a water treatment facility. I totally get that. But can we at least salute their machismo? In lieu of actual accomplishments, can we at least salute the fact that when they get injured, it isn't nickel dime, hangnail, oh, I stubbed my toe kind of crap. Left tackle Alaric Jackson, for example, he's out for the year with blood clots. As in, you play, you die, blood clots. You know, right guard Chandler Brewer, he blasted out his medial collateral ligament in the knee during Sunday's game, kept playing. So can we at least acknowledge they're trying to be tough guys here, right? Meanwhile, David Edwards, he might come back this week to play after 2 concussions. 2. Sorry, guys. I'm a Rams fan, too. I'm as disappointed as everybody else in the way this season is going. But some of this stuff is literally Tom Selleck mustache-level machismo. Macho. Credit where it's due. I mean, according to The Athletic, LA has used 3 left tackles, 3 left guards, 3 centers, 5 right guards, and a partridge in a pear tree. How many different combinations can you throw out there? Now, I do want to take a moment and describe what I think is one of the bigger problems that the Rams front office created for itself this year. And no, it's not the whole effing the picks thing. They did it for the ring, and they got the ring. It's kind of like a big blowout where you are going to totally pay for all that alcohol and drugs that you did. You know you're going to pay for it the next day, but man, you're having the time of your life. This is the hangover. People had a feeling it was going to come at some point. But do you recall the last time that the Rams missed the playoffs, I should say? The year before, they had reached the Super Bowl and lost to the Patriots. Now, the first half of the season, again, the offensive line completely stunk up the joint. They couldn't move the ball. Jared Goff was getting killed. Second half of the year, LA found a way to move the ball again. And they wind up missing the playoffs by just one game. Just one. So what did they do that year? Well, they went from 11 personnel, 11, meaning one running back, one tight end, to 12 personnel. In other words, they went to a 2 tight end alignment. An extra blocker if needed to protect Jared Goff. And if there's no blitz coming, that tight end could theoretically just jump into a hole in the zone defense, get a quick short pass, start running. The Patriots did that a lot with Tom Brady. In the Patriots salad days when they had both Rob Gronkowski on one side and closeted double murderer Aaron Hernandez on the other, right? Patriots were moving the ball at will with those 2 tight ends. Now, you might be saying to yourself, gee, James, great idea. Let's go with the 12 personnel again. They can't. And that is the fault of the front office. The Rams only have 2 tight ends on the roster, period. So they can't go 12 personnel all game long. They would be risking it doing 12 personnel half the game. They cut their 3rd tight end. Now, maybe you could get Ben Skronik to get into a 3-point stance, but I don't necessarily know if that's a solution to the problem. Keenan Allen and Mike Williams have returned to practice for the Bolts on Wednesday. Now, Allen has played less than a half of football since injuring his hamstring in Week 1 versus the Raiders. The fact that he's back alone is like a ray of sunshine for the Bolts. I mean, the offense, it's significantly less risky or with him on the field. When he's not on the field, extremely predictable. You have Justin Herbert trying to force passes in where he probably shouldn't be trying to force passes. Matter of fact, Brandon Staley threw caution to the wind and expressed optimism that it wasn't just Allen and it wasn't just Mike Williams getting healthier. He thinks the team might be getting healthier. Right tackle Trey Pipkins practiced. Even Joey Bosa, who ruptured a groin muscle and should be gone for the year, is, quote, a couple of weeks away, unquote, said Staley. But are you like me? Think Staley might be spitting in the eye of fate by trying to claim that the Chargers are getting healthier after all that mess? 15 players of consequence have missed significant time for the Chargers this year. Are you trying to double it, coach? What are you doing? Just say we're kind of hoping. This guy does not know how to do interviews well. There was a headline on CBSSports.com. Quote, Myles Turner is having a career year, and if the Lakers aren't careful, another team is going to trade for him. That is the longest effing... I was a sports writer for more than half my life, and that is the longest freaking headline I've ever seen in my life. If you tried to put that on a newspaper page, that headline would cover up the entire page. You wouldn't even have room for the damn article. Myles Turner is at... Inside baseball stuff about journalism. You don't really want to go over 5 or 6 words in a headline. Myles Turner is having a career year, and if the Lakers aren't careful, another team is going to trade for him. Excellent journalism. Hot, sticky journalism all over your internet. The hottest, the wettest journalism. But I will say that there might be some truth to that headline, because I'm reading reports that the Clippers want to pick up Myles Turner. Now, should the Clippers make a move for Myles Turner, it would balance out the Clippers roster. The roster is heavy with forwards, heavy with 3-and-D people, but there's not a lot of height on the team beyond Ivica Zubac. To recap the Lakers rumor, it's Russell Westbrook plus 2 first-round picks sent to Indiana in return for Turner and guard Buddy Hield. And Turner is currently averaging just under 18 points a game, 8.7 rebounds per game, and 3.1 blocks per game. But here's the question I have if I'm Lakers GM Rob Pelinka. Why are you bailing, or why are you balling out now, Myles Turner? Why are you balling now? Is it possible that you were just cruising through life, averaging your 12.5 points per game, and it suddenly hit you that you're in the final year of your contract. Could that be it? I mean, I recall a guy from the Lakers back in the day named Julius Randle. He was supposed to be part of this big youth movement for the purple and gold with Brandon Ingram, Lonzo Ball. Randle was just cruising along in his rookie deal. Maybe he would play, maybe he wouldn't. And then all of a sudden, in his last year with the Lakers, he blew up. And then all of a sudden, people in the press are like, oh my God, the Lakers have to sign this guy to a long-term deal. He's finally figured it out. Well, the Lakers didn't. Randle went to New York, where he just kind of cruises along again. Oh, he doesn't suck. He never sucked. But did he actually apply himself every single game of every single year? You could argue he clearly hasn't. Not exactly crappy, not exactly a world beater. Sports history is littered with athletes who chase the bag in their contract year. And once they get the bag, they go back right to bed and take a long-ass nap. To me, this story on CBSSports.com sounds like an agent trying to stir up interest in his client. I could be wrong, though. I definitely could be wrong. Now, if you hate Rob Pelinka with the white-hot intensity of 1,000 burning suns, I don't blame you. I really don't. But there is a Western Conference executive who thinks Pelinka is doing the right thing by trying to outweight everybody else. Not for Turner, but for Bradley Beal. The idea is the Lakers don't even know what they have in Thomas Bryant yet when he comes back from injury, the reserve center. Now, I'm not saying Bryant would give him 18 points a game like a Myles Turner would this year, but maybe it would be enough to where the Lakers do not have to send 2 first-round draft picks to Indiana. Maybe, according to this executive who spoke to Sports Illustrated, the Lakers could send significantly less to Washington for Bradley Beal. Now, for the record, Thomas Bryant is practicing again. He could be playing as soon as Friday. Here is something you might not know. Kawhi Leonard's rehab. The Clippers' medical staff is not involved, according to The Athletic. It's Leonard's private staff. Leonard being Kawhi is going Kawhi all over again. Even worse, people around the league have a name for what Kawhi Leonard has been pulling for all these years. You might have heard this thing about how the latest generation, millennials, Generation Z, whatever the hell they call themselves, when you barely do enough at work, just coasting along, and if you get fired, you don't care. They call it quiet quitting. NBA rivals are calling it Kawhiet quitting. If you're a Clippers fan, you can be mad at me all you want. I'm just merely trying to be the messenger here, guys. I'm typically loath to discuss politics in depth here. I mean, sometimes when I'm recording a clip in some disgusting motel somewhere in the Inland Empire, and the resident crackhead next door is calling somebody daddy for an extra $10, sure, I get a little pissed off thinking of Joe Biden's economy, and I'll mention it. But for the most part, I try to pass. Having said that, today the UC Regents are allegedly going to take action regarding UCLA's desire to leave the Pac-12 and move to the Big Ten. And there's no way to look at this other than politically. Governor Gavin Newsom stopped drinking his hair gel so he could weigh in. State senators are claiming that the Regents must block this move, even though the Regents on the record abdicated their responsibility of athletics to the schools decades ago. So what really pisses me off about this now, it's rivalry week. UCLA versus USC. We should be talking football, but we're not. We're talking politics. And I really despise politicians of all stripes for that. They always try to insert themselves into your basic parts of your life, the things that make you happy. They have to insert themselves. They have to make themselves important. I can't stand it. I really can't. For the Dodgers, Julio Urias has finished third in Cy Young voting. Also, according to multiple media outlets, the free agent market for center fielders is decidedly thin. I mentioned that in regards to Cody Bellinger and possibly letting him walk. The first thing you should know is if he walks, the Cubs would probably pounce. They want him. But what would the Dodgers do? Because again, the market is thin. I mean, sure, there's Aaron Judge and his 61 home runs, but he's also 31, not a long-term solution. Somebody mentioned Kevin Kiermaier of Tampa, but I've seen him play in person. He hasn't impressed me much as a hitter. So you might be left with internal options. Chris Taylor, or promoting James Outman from the minors. Yesterday, we mentioned the shockwaves across the college basketball landscape when USC Hoops landed both the #1 player for both men's and women's basketball in the recruiting class of 2023. But the UCLA name still means something. Yesterday, the Bruins landed guard Sebastian Mack of Coronado High School in Nevada. He is considered a 4-star prospect. And in the top 100 rankings in 4 different lists, he's gone as high as number 36 on Rivals.com. He is the 3rd player the Bruins have added for the class of 2023. Finally, the LA Galaxy have sent out a cryptic tweet about making a jersey for somebody, leading us to believe that they have acquired a player of stature. We don't know yet. Stay tuned. Let me know what you think in the comments thread. We got through an absolute ton today. And if you enjoy talking LA sports, do not forget to subscribe to the channel. We talk a lot about LA here. Thank you for watching. I'm James. We'll be back tomorrow. Faithful Angelenos is a Quién Corte El Queso production. Take care.